So if you're still following along, I have my notes here to kind of go over my process. We've already gone over the star alignment. If you look to the top, the weighted batch preprocessing, WBPP, has a big maybe next to it. That's if you personally choose to use the Pixinsight stacking software. I do not. I actually use Deep Sky Stacker. It's up to you. If you would like to learn that, go right ahead. It's not too difficult to use. I just have better results with DSS right now. If you look on our list here, our next stop is going to be DBE, Dynamic Background Extraction, or ABE, Automatic Background Extraction. So if you look at our images right now, and you hit F12, you'll notice they still go black. This means we have a linear image. We want to take them non-linear. So what that exactly means is when you hit Control A and F, it doesn't do this. The image will not be able to be auto-stretched or the preview stretch. It will be a completely solid image. So the first step to do that, we close out of our crop window, and this can be done starting with any image. It doesn't matter which one you do. You want to go to Process, Background Modelization, Automatic Background Extraction. So from here, again, another power of Pixinsight, we keep all the defaults here, especially if you're new or you're kind of learning. All these details work pretty well for me. The only thing we want to change is correction. We want to do subtraction. If you don't hit that, nothing really happens. So we'll first make sure we're in the SII window. We have subtraction on. We're going to hit our apply setting. And then we'll get two windows here. So you'll see one says SII stack RAB background. If we Control A on that to make it a stretched preview, here's our background gradient. Now this is removed from the image because we use the subtraction button. I can hit X on that after I've reviewed it, and here is our new image. As you can see, there's definitely some more data that's been brought out of this image. You can see it's a lot darker. There's definitely more detail. So then we can close out of the original image. And I like to make these small by hitting the little minus sign there. That really helps me out, kind of keep everything organized. I do have a dual monitor, so you might see me look over here to reference and look back over here. And I usually stretch it across both, but for the recording process, it's easier to do it on one screen. So then we take our OII, apply it again, and same thing, we'll check out our background. Looks pretty decent. And there we go. Now this one you can really see a nice difference in the image quality. You know, darker up here, a lot darker in here. We just get a lot more detail out when we remove that background gradient. I think the gradient can be from anything from light pollution to clouds to a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, the background extractor, the automatic one is the one I use most. Dynamics, usually I use it a little more for galaxies and more intricate stuff, but for me, ABE really works well. Close out of our original, and we'll minimize again. And last but not least, our hydrogen alpha. Same thing. Now this looks a lot different to me. It's not as extreme as the other ones. And there we go. And that one you can really see a huge difference by removing that gradient. I mean, you get a ton more out of the image. So yeah, now we'll close that out. We have all three of them done. I'll probably do another video on dynamic background extraction. It really needs its own kind of separate video. It's a little more involved process, not much harder, but it definitely has some more complex things in it than kind of, you know, what we're going over now. So now we have all three of our images here. Okay, and they've now been, so they have a new suffix on them. They now all say ABE. I usually run it only one time. I find that's what's needed. Now you'll notice images are still linear, so we can still hit F12, turn them kind of on and off like a light switch. If we reference our workflow again, we have now done a star alignment, a DBE or ABE. I have this little moniker here. It helps me. Sometimes we do ABE, a histogram stretch, and then ABE again. Again, this is more of an advanced technique, and that will help reduce the moon glow effect when using my personal LRGB filters. I like that, but for this picture, we're not going to do that. And that could be a later video if people ask for it. So the next step, we have the easy denoise. Now this is not something that comes natively with Pixinsight. As I showed in my previous video, I have actually installed the entire Easy Processing suite, as you can see on my screen. It's a free repository of different scripts that will automatically do things for you. Now, this is kind of a double-edged sword because it's important that you learn what the process is doing and how it can be done without it. But at the same time, it's like a backup camera. It really is helpful, and you love it when you have it. So I actually run a lot of these. Really, the only one I don't use is Easy Deconvolution. I should learn it. I just don't use it as much on my images. So if you see the second drop-down, Easy Denoise, you'll get a warning. It's under heavy development. That just is because the developer doesn't want you to lose your work if it crashes. So I would automatically save. And then you'll get this little window. You'll have the Easy Denoise window. You notice it says 2020. It's 2021, but I didn't update mine all the way yet. There's a little how-to that will tell you exactly how to use the image, but I will kind of show you that here as we go through. This might be a process where I cut the video and cut back in. It does take a little bit of time for it to run, but again, it automatically does what it's supposed to. I'll let it run on the screen a few seconds to show you kind of how it runs. Again, I don't choose any of the settings, but before I show you that, I'll show you to get your image. So you can click No View Selected, and then there's three options here, which are the three different layers we have: hydrogen, oxygen, and sulfur. So I'm going to start with my current one, sulfur, and I'll show you the image here. I usually decheck this alternate version. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really do anything, but this will show you what your image currently looks like. All of these settings I keep the exact same. I don't change any setting on here. You can, there's the denoise that runs, multi-scale transform, which will make stars a little bit more round and kind of change the, I don't exactly know what it does per se to a star, but it transforms some part of the image. So all I do is I pick the image and I hit Run Easy Denoise, and you'll notice a whole bunch happens on the screen. That red is the mask it's creating, and you'll notice right here 6% done. So I'll actually come back when it's completely finished. So as you can see in the process console window we have here, the denoise was done right at the end, and it says finished. Engine powering down, thank you for using Easy Denoise. So you can see all the different processes that actually ran here right after we, let's see, where do we start at here? Here's our dynamic crops. Oh, right here. Yep, so right here we select the image and a whole bunch of different processes ran. I usually right away, I close out these three windows. They're very noisy. Turn my fan back off. Now you can see, if we look at our oxygen stack, you can see a lot of noise in there. If we look at our SII stack, we have a lot less noise. The image is a lot smoother. It just removes a lot of gradients and noise that you might have in the image before we even take the image out of the nonlinear state. So it's pretty sweet. It's a very nice tool. I will say that on older computers, it does run harder. It's a lot slower. So if this is something that you're looking to use, definitely be prepared. You know, if you have huge images, probably 15 minutes an image. It's a very long process if you have a slow computer. My computer did it in about 3 minutes. So if you have a slow computer or a laptop, it's going to take a while for sure. So this is actually going to be the end of this video. I'm going to run it on all three images, and then I'll get back to you. See you in the next one.